everyone and welcome to my life goals check-in video. At the beginning of the year, I set myself a few life goals, so what I thought I'd do today, because we are in the middle of the year, is actually go through those life goals and see how well I'm doing with them and where I need to improve upon. So let's get out my journal where I've listed all of my goals and see how well I'm doing. And yes, my journal is covered in stickers. I've got an Avengers one, I've also got a Thor one, I've got a McFly one, and then a General Poison one as well, because I thought it looked really cool and it reminded me of Wednesday Addams. So this here is my 2025 goals, and for my reading goals I've already done a video on that, so I'm just going to skip that for now. In terms of my channel goals, one goal I had was to update my thumbnails, and I have definitely done that. I've changed my thumbnails round. I'm sure you've noticed, if you've been on this channel for a while, I have updated my thumbnails, and I'm really happy with how they're turning out now. I was not really happy with how they were before, but I'm really liking how they are looking right now, so I definitely have done that goal. My second channel goal was to do more comic book content, and I think I've started doing that. I've done a sort of an average of one more comic booky type like video every single month, and that has generally been recommendations for whatever character or team is coming out that month, and I'm really liking making that content. I really enjoy it. I obviously love talking about comics. I've got a whole blog dedicated to Marvel Comics, so clearly I enjoy making that content, and I've been really liking putting it on video as well. And I just really like making those videos, so I'm definitely going to be continuing on doing that. I'm hopefully going to be making more in terms of like recommendations for outside of Marvel Comics and things like this, but at the moment I am currently just focusing on the more Marvel content, just because that is the stuff I know the greatest amount about, and I'm really enjoying making it. And then my final channel goal was to ask for more collaborations and to collaborate more with people, and I will say I have done that this year as well, because I made and co-hosted a read-along for the Chaos Walking books by Patrick Ness. So definitely did that, and definitely want to be doing more of that kind of stuff in the future. So I'd say I've made a good start with that one. I just need to continue on with doing it like for the rest of my YouTube career, because I really enjoyed doing it and I want to do more of it. And then if we go into my content goals as well, this is where things go a little bit downhill, because YouTube was a real highlight for me in terms of how well I'm doing. In terms of content and life goals, it's gone a little bit downhill. So if we go through the content goals, the first one is to plan in advance, and I will say I'm kind of doing that, because in this journal here, as you can see on my Doctor Who spreads, I actually have little boxes across all of my pages, so you can see here, where I put down all of the like blog posts and then also the videos I want to do every month. And I plan that out right at the beginning of the month every single time, and so I am kind of doing that, but I am not making that many videos in advance of itself or making any blog posts in advance of itself. I am planning them, but I'm not writing or filming or editing them in advance. I'm doing it the day of or the week of. So definitely need to be working more on that, because having a plan is great, but sometimes weeks get really busy and I need content in the bank, so then I can just still carry on posting even when I'm busy. So definitely need to work on that a little bit more. My other one was to cosplay more on TikTok, and I started out really well with this one because I did several Billy Maximoff cosplays. I did a whole load of videos on that, and then it got really warm and I stopped doing it, because that cosplay, quite frankly, is very warm to be in, because it involves a white tank top, then a like woolly jumper over the top of it, and then also a hoodie on the top of that, because Billy for some reason decided to wear a ton of layers, which means that when I'm in my room, which already feels like a sauna most days, it ends up being nearly unbearable to film in there for that long in that many layers. So I'm kind of waiting a little bit more for the like colder months of the year to go back to filming content to do with Billy, but that doesn't mean I can't do more Loki stuff, and I have not cosplayed as Loki in about a year at this point, so I definitely want to be doing more of that, because I love cosplaying as Loki. I've got a whole load of sounds saved on TikTok for me to actually make content with. I just haven't done it yet. My excuse is I'm waiting to dye my hair green again at the end of July, because then my Loki can have the green hair and everything else, but that's just an excuse. That is literally just an excuse. I could do it right now. My hair is slightly green, so it's possible to do now. I just haven't done it for no apparent reason, so I really want to get on that. Admittedly, I have been writing a book, so all of my brain has been focused on that, so content has not been my greatest sort of thought at the moment because I've been writing a book. But at the same time, I could still be making that content. So I definitely want to be doing that over the next couple of months and to have like a real nice sort of bank of Loki stuff so I can just get on with it and post it and sort of enjoy cosplaying again, because I have not cosplayed enough this year. So I definitely want to be doing that. In terms of any other cosplays, I have admittedly looked at some like Doctor Strange costumes, but they are extremely expensive, and also Winter Soldier ones. And my problem with the Bucky ones as the Winter Soldier, as everyone knows, he's got a metal arm, and doing that is really difficult because I do not have the skills to make a Winter Soldier arm, and also most of them are really muscly and I am not. So yeah, that looked really weird. So I'm just kind of working out what I want to do with the Winter Soldier cosplay and how I want to do it. I've seen someone or a few people have fabric arms, so I may do something like that for now and see if I can find ones on like eBay or something like this, but we shall see. Either way, I definitely need to be cosplaying more, even if it is just with the stuff I already own, with the characters I already have stuff for. So either way, need to carry on working on that, need to actually make the content because I love doing it, and I'm just not doing it at the moment. And now that my brain is a little bit freer because I'm not focusing fully on my book, I want to focus on cosplay because I definitely want to be doing more of that throughout the year. My final content one was to write my book, and as I've said in this video a couple of times and in my previous video, I have also been writing a book at the moment. I'm about 10,000 words off finishing right now, so I'm very, very happy with the progress on it. I just need to carry on doing that. So I do need to finish it, but at the very least I've written about 40,000 words of it, so I'm not doing too badly so far. And then as for my life goals, the first one was that I wanted to go to bed at 1 AM, and that is currently not happening. At the moment, I am still at 1:30 to 2 o'clock in the morning. It is usually somewhere around sort of 1:45 in the morning, and it has been slowly creeping from that 1:30 bedtime towards 2. So I definitely need to be turning that around a bit because obviously I need more sleep. I've said this for years now, I need more sleep. I am not getting that sleep, and 1 AM feels like the best bedtime for me, so I need to really start working on that. So that is definitely something I am failing at. If anything, I am getting worse at it, so definitely need to be getting on that one this year. Another one I had was exercise more, and I have been doing this on and off. I've not been doing this anywhere near as much as I should be, but I am still keeping my sort of exercise up a little bit and doing maybe 2 or 3 sort of 20-minute sessions a week, but it is nowhere near as much as I want it to be. I want it to be more like 4 or 5 days a week, so I'm still working on that one definitely, but I have not completely stopped exercising, so that is something at the very least. Another goal I had was to sort out my skin, which has been an ongoing process, I won't lie, but we have made progress with it. So for context, I have got a lot of acne, and it has been getting me down for the last few years because I am now 29 years old, and while I obviously have the face of a 12-year-old, I know I look young, but the spots itself has been really, really bothering me because they are everywhere. There are many weeks where I just haven't filmed anything just because my skin has been so bad and I've been so self-conscious. I've decided not to film anything. If I'm filming on TikTok, I will literally use the flawless skin filter a lot of the time just because my face has just been so covered in spots that I do not want to be on camera without that filter, and even then that filter sometimes still doesn't cover them all because there's that many of them. And you will actually see this probably in my villains reading vlog, which will either be out by now or will be coming out soon depending on when I finish the last book I have for that reading vlog, because there's a lot of clips in there where I am quite frankly covered and I'm having a very bad skin week, so you'll probably see it there. So this year I went, screw this, I want to see a dermatologist, I want to see what's going on, I want to see if I can fix this. So back in December, I will say it was December last year, we made an appointment with the doctor and went, what can we do? Can we see a dermatologist? I finally got the appointment through, which ended up being at the beginning of May, end of April if I remember rightly. It was kind of that kind of time, and I finally saw the dermatologist and they have given me some medication. I admittedly haven't started it yet because I need a blood test first, because the first blood test they did just to see what was going on in me did not include potassium levels, so we need to check my potassium levels apparently before I start the medication, which is happening in the next couple of weeks, so I will hopefully be starting that medication soon after that, and then hopefully I'm going to be seeing an improvement in my skin. But but I'm still really happy with the fact that I now have medication for this and actually have a way around this. So very, very happy with that goal and how that is going. And then my final goal of the year for my life was to have more solo adventures where I went out by myself and did stuff by myself, because usually I get a lift because I can't drive myself. I usually go with other people from like leaving the house onwards. I'm always with someone usually, so I wanted to have more solo adventures because I haven't really had any since the pandemic, and I have had 3 amazing solo adventures this year, or only for like an evening or a day or whatever else, but I've still done those things. The first one was back in January when I went to see Dan and Phil by myself. They are 2 YouTubers that I have loved since I was about 15, I think it was, and I enjoyed their last show, which was Interactive Introverts, and this time they were doing a tour which was like a big comeback tour after a very long hiatus called Terrible Influence, and I went to go see it and I had such a good time. I went completely by myself. I went up to London on the train by myself. I actually ended up talking to people while I was there as well, which is not usually something I do, and I managed to have a really nice chat with another girl there while we were waiting for the show to start. I loved all of that. I had a really, really good time doing that, and it was a fantastic way to start off the solo adventure. Another solo adventure I had was up in Banbury. Admittedly, I was already up there because we'd driven up there as a family to go visit a family friend, but then I also managed to meet Hannah from Ladder M up there because she's currently living there, and we spent the day together, and that involved having to use Google Maps to go around somewhere I've never been before, so that technically counts as a solo adventure for me anyway, because I was going somewhere completely by myself and then meeting up with someone, which was part of my goals as well. Even if I was just travelling somewhere by myself and meeting up with someone when I got to the destination, it still absolutely counted, and we had a wonderful day together. We had brunch together, we then went around looking at some bookstores, and then also went to a board game cafe where she absolutely kicked my ass at Santorini, and then also Cluedo, and then we also went around B&M and also Dunelm for some fun. So we had a fantastic day together, so thank you very much, Hannah, for meeting me in Banbury. I had a fantastic time. And then the other solo adventure is the solo adventure to end all solo adventures, and possibly the greatest night of my life, which if you've been on this channel for more than 5 minutes, you know exactly what I'm about to say, but the Thunderbolts premiere. And yes, I'm talking about this again. I am making this entire video just so I can talk about the Thunderbolts premiere, I won't lie. So apologies if you've heard this story before, but I'm going to talk about it again because, quite frankly, like I said, it was the greatest night of my life. I am mentioning it again because, for context, I've been a Marvel fan since I was 7 years old, the first time I watched the X-Men movies. And I've been a massive fan of the MCU ever since Avengers Assemble came out, and for the last few years I've really wanted to go to a Marvel premiere, and I keep on missing them by like a day. So they'd have one in London, and then the next day they'd be like, oh yeah, we were in London having the premiere, and I'd go, wait, what do you mean that all of the stars were there and I missed it? And so I have been determined that I was going to go to a Marvel premiere, and I was going to keep an eye out to see when they were happening, or like around the time the press tours were happening and everything else, so I could actually go. And this time the Thunderbolts premiere rolled round. I was already ridiculously excited about this movie because I am such a big fan of Bucky Barnes and Yelena Belova, and also Alexei Shostakov, and I was already really excited about this movie. And then I found out 24 hours before the premiere happened that the premiere was happening in Leicester Square. So I decided I was going to go because I needed a win, and so I also had some train vouchers, which meant the train cost me £4, which is amazing considering how expensive trains are. So I booked the tickets the day before, went up by myself in my Thunderbolts t-shirt because I'd already bought t-shirts for the Thunderbolts because I was so excited and I knew I was going to love the team. So I got up there and this was my view. I was by the barriers. I was like, well, I can see the big screen, that's absolutely fine. Then they opened up a second bit of barriers. We all went round, so we were closer, and then this was my view, and I was like, all right, I'll be able to see people walking through the 2 big like screen bits, that's absolutely fine. And then a guy was sort of looking over at us and was talking to someone, and I was like, wonder what's going on there. And then he came over and went, we've got some spare tickets to walk the yellow carpet and then go and see the movie. Do you guys want to see the movie? And I was like, yes please and thank you. Essentially, like, yes please, give me. Essentially I nearly bit this guy's hand off in my excitement. It was like, I was like, yes please, because in context, this was 9 days before the film came out. And I was already excited, like, because this movie was one of my most anticipated of the year. So I was like, yes please, I will happily walk the yellow carpet and fill that seat for you. So got the ticket, went and walked the yellow carpet. As you can see by my face, I was still completely and utterly in shock at this point. Could not believe my luck. I was unbelievably excited, unbelievably happy, very nearly in tears at this point because I was so excited. Walked the yellow carpet, and then the whole cinema is decked out with Thunderbolts. So as you can see again from this video, all of the like screens on the sides have got all of the like posters up, and then also the like stairs have also been lit up in the yellow and the black with the Thunderbolts logo all over it, and everything else went in, and I watched the yellow carpet from my cinema screen. And this is the biggest cinema screen I've ever seen in my life. For context, this is the Cineworld in Leicester Square, if any of you have been. It was in like the second biggest screen in the entire place, because obviously the stars were going to be going into the other one to see it in the even bigger screen, but this was still one of the biggest screens I've ever seen in my life. And it was absolutely huge, and we got to see all of the stars arrive. So I saw Florence Pugh, Lewis Pullman, Hannah John Kamen, Wyatt Russell, David Harbour, a whole load of others were there as well, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Then Pedro Pascal turned up, so I also saw Pedro Pascal turn up, and Simu Liu. So I was like, this is incredible. This is absolutely incredible. Saw all the yellow carpet, everything else, brilliant, fun, having a great time. And then a photographer walks in after the premiere has ended, and they walk in to our cinema screen. And I was like, okay, what the hell is going on here? Why is there a cinema, like, why is there a photographer in our cinema screen? And then I went, they usually introduce the movie. No, they're not about to walk in. They're not about to walk in. And the funny thing is literally 24 hours before, I had turned to my mum and went, Kevin Feige's not going to be there. Kevin Feige is 100% not going to be there, because he's going to be in America finishing up the last bits for Doomsday. And then Kevin Feige walks in. Kevin Feige. If you don't know who Kevin Feige is, he is essentially the head of Marvel. He is the guy who runs the lot of it. He is the producer of all of these ones. He decides what movies are happening. He's part of the casting process. He is the head honcho of Marvel. He is Marvel. He has worked on practically every single Marvel movie since the first X-Men movie. For context, he is the guy who got Wolverine's hair to do the thing. Right, because they weren't going to give him that that haircut, and then they got his hair to do that because Kevin Feige said, look, this is comic accurate, we've got to give him the look. And he was the guy giving the actors the comics to read so they knew who their characters were. I think, if I remember rightly, he's the guy who picked Hugh Jackman up from the airport to go and film, from Australia to go and film X-Men. Like, this is how long he's been in Marvel. And I was like, Kevin Feige is in the same room as me. As you can imagine, my reaction was quite a lot. I did scream, I won't lie. I'll probably insert a clip here so you can see it.
No introduction, give it up for Kevin Feige! Joining Kevin is director Jake Schreier! And the cast, first of all, make some noise for Wendell Pierce! Lewis Pullman! Julia Louis-Dreyfus! Wyatt Russell! Hannah John Kamen! David Harbour! And finally, last but by no means least, Florence Pugh!
But basically, everyone was there apart from Sebastian Stan, because he was filming a different movie at the time, which was probably good for everyone involved, because I would have imploded if he had walked through the door, quite frankly, because I've loved his character of Bucky Barnes for so long now. Since I first watched the Winter Soldier movie, I have adored his character. So if he'd been in the same room as me, I think I just would have imploded with autistic joy, to be honest. I was already ridiculously excited because Florence Pugh was right in front of me, along with David Harbour and the rest of the cast. And I mean, it's literally, I don't know if you can see that, but that's actually part of my video, is now my phone, lock screen, because I was so completely and utterly, I'm never over this. I will never be over this, so it's now my lock screen, to just remind me every single time I open my phone that this thing happened to me. So they introduced the movie, and they're like, we've not even seen it. Florence Pugh is like, I have not seen this movie yet. None of them have seen the movie. And we are currently 9 days out from the film actually opening worldwide. And so we actually sat and watched the movie. They introduced it, they walked out, went into their own cinema screen. For context, by the way, Pedro Pascal and Simu Liu were already in their seats in the other cinema screen, so I wasn't in the same room as them, but I was in the same building, and then we watched the Thunderbolts. 9 days early, I saw the Thunderbolts movie, and I, quite frankly, have not felt joy like it. Like, I was 9 days early, and then I had to sit on all of the spoilers. I had to sit on knowing what the asterisks meant for 9 days, and I also had to sit on the fact that I, like, the end credit scene as well, because obviously I knew the end credit scene, and I'm just gonna put a spoiler warning now. So basically, if you do not want to know the end credit scene or anything to do with the end credit scene, I will put a timestamp here so you can skip it if you do not want to know. But the end credit scene where they all walk in, they're the new Avengers, they all walk in, they see that something's going on in space and that there's something coming through, and it's the Fantastic Four ship. And I remember so clearly watching the credits roll and seeing like them get to like the music bit and going, the Fantastic Four like themes listed here. I don't remember hearing that, and went, what if it's the end credit scene? What if it's the end credit scene? And it was the end credit scene. And I was like, I was made up. I was absolutely made up to see the Fantastic Four ship. I was so excited. And then I had to sit on that as well. And I just remember, like, because at this point as well, by the way, I hadn't eaten anything. I hadn't eaten anything since like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was now like 10 o'clock at night. I was ravenously hungry, but it was worth every single second of it. It was absolutely worth every single second of it. And then I didn't tell anyone anything about what happens in this movie for another 9 days until the movie came out, and then I exploded. But before then, I kept it completely locked down, and I don't know how I did it. I didn't even tell my mum. Put it that way. I didn't, and I tell her everything, and I didn't even tell her anything. Mainly because she's when, if you tell me anything, I will not be pleased with you, so I didn't tell her anything. But I was just like, for the 9 days, I was one of maybe 15,000 people in the world who had seen this movie, and just the honour and the privilege will never leave me. The honour and the privilege of that will never ever leave me. And the fact that I knew about a certain end credit scene, like Easter egg as well, and it clicked in my head the morning the film came out for everyone around the world as I was travelling in to go and see the movie again, and I was like, wait a minute, I recognise that Easter egg now. It's just clicked in my head. I just read the comic last night, and the fact that it came to me then, and the fact that I was one of the only people in the world who knew that Easter egg was there was incredible. And the fact as well that I was talking, like, after the premiere, as we were walking out, I was talking to the girl I've been sat next to. She was a wonderful girl, and we sort of kept each other company the whole night because we were both like, what the hell is going on here? And I was telling her my theories about Doctor Doom and everything else, thinking, oh no, he's going to be like a variant of Tony Stark because of X, Y, and Z reason. And I was like, I apologise, I read a lot of comics, I spend a lot of time talking about comics and theorising and everything else. And the guy in front of me turned around and went, actually, I was quite enjoying it. And I went, validation. Like, the validation in that moment was incredible. The entire night was incredible, but to end it on that validation as well was like absolutely fantastic. You know, it was just the greatest night of my life. Genuinely. I was in the same room as Kevin Feige, Florence Pugh, and the rest of the cast of Thunderbolts, and now the Thunderbolts is my new favourite comfort movie. I adore that movie so much. I've seen it 7 times in the cinema. I literally went to go see it 6 more times after I saw it at the premiere because I adore it so much. There are no words to describe it. I absolutely loved it more than anything. I absolutely love it, and I am now counting down the days for the DVD to come out so I can watch it over and over and over and over and over again because I love it so much. And the fact that that happened to me at the premiere, words can't describe it. Words can't describe it. And I did that to wrap it back up into this video again because I went out and had a solo adventure. If I hadn't have done that, if I had waited and gone, no, I don't want to go, I want to go with somebody else, so I want some company because it's London, and London's not exactly far from me, but it is still very much like a big city and things like this, and I don't know what's going to happen if I get lost or what anything else, even though I know my way to Leicester Square very well by now because I've been there so many times. If I had waited, it wouldn't have happened. So this is just a thing for me to say, I need to go on more solo adventures because stuff like that can happen. Don't get me wrong, that is never going to happen to me again, but stuff like that can happen. So I need to start doing more solo adventures because That was the greatest night of my life. I have no way else to describe it apart from it was the greatest night of my life. I apologise to McFly, who have given me some fantastic best nights of my life, I won't lie. I mean, the 21st anniversary shows last year were enough, but Thunderbolts premiere, I was in the same room as Kevin Feige and Florence Pugh. I mean, like, there's no topping that for me, personally. There is no topping that, so I'm just gonna shut up now, because otherwise I'm just going to keep on repeating myself, and I'm going to talk about Thunderbolts even more, and I think I've been talking about this for about 14 minutes now according to my camera, so I'm going to wrap this up because that was all of my goals. So as you can see, I've done reasonably well on some of them. One of them I've done outstandingly with the solo adventure thing and stuff like this, but there are others I definitely need to work on. Specifically, the ones I need to work on is the 1 AM bedtime, exercising more, and then also cosplaying more and planning my content in advance, because those are all things that I desperately need to do, and I am not doing them right now. So those are the ones I'm going to be focusing on, and then everything else I'm going to carry on chipping away at and hopefully doing as well as I have been doing for the first half of the year with them. And that is where I'm going to leave this video, because otherwise, like I said, I will carry on talking about Thunderbolts and the premiere of it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me a goal you are absolutely nailing this year. I'd love to know. Or if you don't have that much time, leave me a lightning bolt emoji down below to let me know that you were here. I'll also leave a link as well down below to all of my social media if you want to check it out, including to the Comic Book Sanctum, which is my website dedicated to Marvel Comics, which is filled with all things Thunderbolts on there. If you want to know anything about the comics or the Easter eggs or anything else, all of that will be linked down below so you can check it out for yourself. Or if you just want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But till next time, everyone, bye!